I spent 6 hours riding a motorcycle yesterday, and now my throat is like, but still, editing every day means editing every day. All right, so let's go here. We need another table. So I am too unhealthy to do a rewrite today, and I need to change up a little bit the way that I do rewrites too, because it's just not. It seems to me to not be efficacious the way that we're doing it. Insert a table. Let's do one with headers. All right, so what do we have here? Chapter, page, POV, goal, status. Okay, why don't we add another column over here? Status. And why don't we take all these guys and set their cell text. We'll take their Helvetica New down to about 8 point. Let's take our chapter number and put it here. And let's figure out how many chapters we're working with. Let me see there. Google Docs, oh, yeah. Let me see. Oh. All right, there we go. Did I miss any chats from yesterday that were important? No, I did not. I got like 18 Discord highlights, but it's all one guy spurging out. Yeah, man, that Asperger's will fucking get you if you're not careful. Superior grin. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not in. Oh, this is kind of cool. I don't actually remember all the shit that I rewrote into book 2. So let me see. Find black dust. All right, so 326. I think it gets to about page 400. And we were like 150 with the other one. 218. I don't agree. Well, I don't agree with what people are saying in LRH at all. Not. I do not agree, is what I said there, typing with like one hand. I gotta move this chat box so this like right here. I might do that at some point. Let me see. Rolling over my own wheels and such here. I like that the first part of any editing stream where I'm sick is just me like grumbling and cursing. I'm not that sick either. I think it's just like a allergy, sinus infection, or whatever. Bigger like a wolf. 22. How far does this go? No, not that. Guidance at last. Okay, 224 is hat. Let's see. Vadabo, what have you done? All right, 226. I do like Vadabo. I'm sad that there's not a lot of Vadabo in book 3. In fact, We might try to build out some Vidabo chapters. Let me see. And Adept. There's just so much. Oh, wait. Oh, the numbers are wrong. Here's 221. 227. Yeah. And then you can see that we rewrote like 6 chapters in here. Or maybe you can't. Okay, so this is 228. Okay, and I think that's the final chapter of this whole Boondock. Yeah, end of book 2. All right, so 28 chapters is a lot of chapters. And just as in terms of like the book being consistent, I don't like that Vidabo falls completely off of the map in book 3 so far. So I'd like to think about ways that I can inject him back in. Again, we're thinking about ways that we can add more action into the Rigel chapters too. Just they go, all right, so we need to get in our, so we have 5 panes right here, which means we need to add 28. Let's make 29 there. All right. So we need to make 29 panes. I don't know if I can get through this whole book because it's long there. Because I'm gonna go until about 9 o'clock, but I want to do something today. Oh well, go all the way to 218. All right, book 2.1. So page 137 this begins, and it really runs on for a long ass time. Hello to whoever has joined in to view this whole thing. So today I'm just going to be working a little bit on my abstract. Oh, yes, hello yet again, Jira. Faithful friend. All right, what do we got there? So chapter 2.1 is the start, and 2.1, and this is the POV of Rebel. All right, and the goal. Let's get these where we need them to be. Fucking, I can't even click right. Oh, because I'm clicking in the wrong space. That is the problem. All right, goal, and then let's make status a little bit bigger. All right, so 2.1 is a chapter with Rebel v. Ramus. The goal here is to show, and then we need, and all these are chat sized. In fact, all the way down here, I need the chats to be much smaller. So font size, and then regular, supposed to be, is that 7 point there? Or hold on, let's set our font point. Yeah, so our font point size has to be 6 point to like fit in what we're trying to do there. All right, so now if I'm not wrong, all right, so this is page 137, and we're gonna run on until page 143. Okay, so here, so it's not just Rebel. Okay, so they're in this chapter. Okay, so this takes place after the fight at the entrance to the Rapasaurus, where both Rigel and Revel square off over a bridge. And Revel v. Ramus, Rigel actually tricks him by throwing sand in his eyes and like diving into his knees and knocks him off of this bridge into a river that's running beneath. This is an underground river. Revel was wearing full like field plate at the time. Not like plate, but what's the one where? What's the one where you have like a breastplate and like arm and leg guards and so forth, but you're not um, and chainmail and shit like that, but you're not in the whole like creaky jointed night mail where every part of you is protected. Because you need to be on a horse to really wear that armor. Um, so he is knocked into the water and sinks like a rock and is swept along by this current. But El Shalah casts a spell to form a bubble of green light around his head so that he has air. And actually, he almost suffocates because the spell doesn't stop quickly enough. And so he's just left breathing tainted air after a second. It's a neat little thing there that both shows like that she's trying to save him and shows that she's just an apprentice. Like none of the spells and shit that she casts really work. So let me see. He's dragged over Revel. He's spat out. He holds on to his sword. The boon becomes a curse. I like that. Oh, so here Rigel actually gives him a hand up. He like pulls him onto the thing. Yeah, and he was almost too weak to do that. So Rigel actually saves his life here. Um, and then then he tries to take away his sword. Um, and then he lights a torch. All right, so anemone powder. Okay, cool. That's actually useful for the chapter that we're working on now, because burn of anemone powder. All right, so and then all right, so what do we show in this chapter? Okay, cool. So this is okay. Just needs a little tuning. And then, of course, it was 6 pages when all was said and done. Good morning to whoever else has popped in here. We are live editing a gigantic fantasy novel once again. And today I am very low energy. So I'm just working on building together this chart, which is going to give me like a master plan for the rewrite. Okay, so here we have an El Shalah scene. And it runs from 144 to... No, it's a shorty. 149. Oh, I guess they're all 6 pages at the start of this, which is good. I like to have some consistent chapter length. Okay. So 6. Okay. All right, so this is their first real foray into the Rapasaurus proper. So what happens here? What happens here? The hall was dark. In the distance, a dim right. Oh, this is one of those serpent chandeliers. Okay, and so I like that they're considering the poetry of the Rapasaurus. That's something we fall off about a little bit later. where we stopped describing like some of the weird languages and the strange cultural artifacts in there, and I think that's a mistake. Um, I really want it to feel like the whole time there's like a neat archaeological dig aspect to it. Um, Although apparently archaeology is only when it concerns people. So I don't know, xeno archaeological, demonio archaeological, whatever you would call it there. Okay. All right, cool. So this is another part where I'm not jazzed about the I'm an apprentice. All this is behind me. Okay. Now you can tell that I played Dark Souls between when I wrote this and like the first thing that they fall into is a teleporter trap that like sends them to like a vastly higher area or whatever. So in the original rewrite of this, um, they stumbled into a shifting labyrinth, um, which I liked, but it wasn't like an effective scene. And the fact that the whole labyrinth was like mutable and blah blah blah, it just didn't really work for me. So I just rewrote it as a different kind of labyrinth and gave like some more opportunities to have tension between them crop up. I added more threats to it, and I set more of a backdrop for a area that I'm going to use later in the story. Like the area that they explore, I'm going to try and use it in the climax of the story instead of introducing a whole new chamber later on, because I want everything to like roll back to the beginning. So essentially, at the end, you find yourself back at the beginning. It's satisfying from like a structural dungeon crawling type thing, and like it's just not great to introduce. As cool as it is, like, oh, we found the secret like altar room where the guy's doing his high ritual and so forth. Even better is if you have a glimpse of that beforehand, so the reader comes into it and it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh shit, that's what it was for all this time. Um, which again, like, it's not like this is some great revelation. This is people have been doing this forever. Um, okay. So right now, the story is written so that El Shala is constantly arguing for her limitations. She's young. She's like saying, I'm an apprentice. I'm not meant to know this stuff and so forth. And yet she is caught in this whole thing. So we could lean very hard into what is. Hold on. I think there's a caterpillar on my main monitor. Let me go see if that is indeed a caterpillar because I just want to check it out. Oh no, I need the white. Oh no, it's gone. Oh no, it's not a caterpillar. It's this drill. I wonder what the fuck. There's like a little crescent at the bottom of the screen, and I was like, "What's going on there? Is that a caterpillar?" Anyhow, uh, all right. So it's a big decision there. It's going to form like a lot of the core of her character, whether she has like imposter syndrome. It's like actually you were stronger than you thought all along, or you thought you were strong, but you didn't know what the fuck you were doing, and now you're going to learn a hard lesson. So both of these are things that can happen. And to tell you the truth, like both of those seem a little boring to me. I would love to find an alternate path. I don't really like either of those. I don't like those being like the primary drama of the character. I do like her being afraid of her father. Like I like that as a mechanic, and I want to keep that in. Um, and I don't want to either build it into like one of these trauma type relationships that's there. I want to do something that's new and interesting, and give this female character a male type problem to deal with, rather than like falling into some imposter syndrome trope or whatever. I wrote the book that has like the female character dealing with like these deeply female problems. I wrote that one already. I'm bored of it. What work is it doing? So essentially, she has like very limited power to deal with these situations, and has to really scrounge for everything that she can do. Just we've described throughout the book, just the effort of like maintaining a light is somewhat exhausting for her there. But she's written to be like a smart and sharp character. And certainly her emotional relationships are ones where she is in charge, like in terms of power and so forth. But is still quite young and vulnerable there. To me, like the interesting thing is, maybe it's more interesting if she feels she has to keep up a facade of how powerful she is. She's like she has oh, I like that a lot better. No, boom. Okay, that's such a more interesting dynamic for me. Is if she has been somewhat pretending this whole time to be like more powerful than she is. She's never revealing that she's just an apprentice, and has to come up with like these exaggerated reasons for why like her spells aren't working, and why she fails to like zap fish, and why she makes these elementary mistakes. Instead of just telling them, she should just be fronting the whole time. I like that so much more. And then 314, which is like a pivotal part where she loses her authority and she splits from these other people, um, is the point where they finally like own up and say, you know what, I'd rather not be told what to do by like an 18-year-old girl who can barely like conjure a magic light. You know what I mean? I'd love it if like I as a grown man could just make my own fucking decisions. Thank you. And they no longer believe in her promise of money. Okay, cool. And then so this to me, where she realizes that she's going to be alone, because she at some point makes the decision and just calls in a wrath, and then everything is about to go fucking crazy because a wrath is a wild card. Cool, cool. This is exactly why I'm making this chart, just so that I can like think a little bit about what's actually happening in the structure, what would be more interesting there, and so I can just do a find and replace for every instance of apprentice and cut it out of there, and have her be this whole time pretending to be more powerful than she is. That to me is much more interesting than her having I don't know, imposter syndrome, or not believing in herself, or some other horseshit trope. I like so much better the the facade. I like it. and she does pull off like a few magical feats throughout this whole thing, but ultimately it's not. She's not anywhere near as strong as any of the other straight magicians in the story, because both Vidabo and Arath are like archmages, and all of the Seether that run through this book, essentially as beings that are like entirely magical or whatever, they are continually laughing at her. Okay, so later in the thing too, they see Latrelin, and Latrelin could just lay it all out like that. She is okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go to 2-3. I'm just an apprentice. Oh, this is beyond me. Yeah, and this is another part where I just don't like that. I don't want to write a character where it's meant to be a fantasy. I don't want to write a character that has like a character flaw that I don't like in myself, and that I don't like seeing in other people, like arguing for their limitations. I fucking hate that. Okay, so 150 through. Oh, this is a great one. Okay, so this originally, so it's a 9-page chapter. Originally, this was one of the spots where the story pivoted as a choose your own adventure book based on whether you, as Rigel, decided to betray Revelry Ramos or not to betray him. So this chapter actually does a fair amount of work. Revelry Ramos was no Delver. I love that one. All right, so this is definitely a Rigel POV. It's 9 pages long. Okay, so the goal here. Cool. So this is one of the first places where we're actually giving a character a meaningful choice in the story. And these are so few and far between. It's really hard to give a character a strong choice because you then have to write the entire book around it. So like in a rewrite, these are very hard to shoehorn in. I guess you can lead them up to the choice once you've already made it and so forth. But this is one where I really had to sit and think about what the character would do. So good. I like what that chapter does a lot. I like that ultimately he chooses to betray him. Basically, like Rigel climbs up first into this privy shaft and has Revel send all the supplies up first, right? And then once he has all the supplies up and stuff, he cuts the rope and leaves him down there in the dark. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving with all your supplies." And Revel has no way to climb up without the rope. He just can't make it up there. So, and he's left in the dark too of the sewer. And in some ways, we make it Revel's own fault because he's threatening the kid, like they're arguing and so forth. He's making a lot of noise. Um, okay. Okay. So there, we worry a little bit that the Revel character is too much of a caricature. He's written initially. He was just written as like stock template rich guy. So here we want to at least examine his motivations for being such a cunt and make sure that they basically stem from his feelings of, oh shit, like I've lost in the dark, I've fucked up, you know. So it just needs to be hinted where these feelings are coming from, and not just like that he's an asshole for its own sake, which he very well might be at that point in the story. But I like um, the counterpoint of Rigel, who he's had to pay all these dues to like do this dungeon delving type stuff. Like Rigel should really come across as more competent, and then we really need to think about ways to spring Rigel out of the boring part of the story that he unfortunately gets stuck into, where he basically just gets caught in a fucking monologue that goes on for chapters and chapters. All right, so 160 through. This is going to be a shorty. Let me see. So fish. Yeah, this is only a 3. All right. So okay. So okay. So we've only used about half of our attention budget there. So let me just make sure that I'm not missing any points of what's happening in the chapter. Okay, so we talk about also that's an important part of the goal is establishing that he doesn't have enough food. Ooh. All right. So, and I do want a lot of their adventuring here to be gated by like hunger and food and so forth. I want to keep that relatively realistic as we're going through. Let me hold on. Let me save this document so I don't. This is turning into like a very. Okay, so we. Okay, so we foreshadow Midriata's gardens there, which is going to come up later. Uh, and honestly, I need to think about that gimmick because it was really there for the game version of this. Essentially, there's an idea that if you backtrack 3 times in the dungeon, something is released and comes after you. But that was just for when I meant to have this be like a Twitch live stream of an RPG, and I just didn't want people like turning back every time that they encountered a room that looked too difficult. I wanted to put a gate on how many times that could happen. Generally, um, game mechanics like that serve a purpose there can also serve a purpose in our novel. Because like at some point somebody's like, why don't they just turn around? Why do they go into that chamber? But it also can overly gamify what's going on. So that's something I think about. Light glimmers to the distance, it's so cold. What a lovely light. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so then we get to 2.5. All right, and this is a Hat chapter 164. I think it's going to be a long chapter, as I recall. Oh yeah, this is them fucking with the trap. So 165. Oh, it's a long chapter. Oh, this is way too long. Oh yeah, what? You can't have like a 25-page chapter? This 165 to 187. Holy shit. It's a 15 page long chapter. All right, that's way long. And we got to really think about the work that it's doing. All right, and I think I'm not even sure that it's Hat's POV. No wonder it took me so long to write this. All right, let me see. So what actually happens here? Because I think it's a lot of spinning their wheels. It could almost be broken. Is almost going to be broken into 2 chapters. Okay. So here. Walked about 4 miles, lava tube. And here we talk about her age as 17. Let's see. Okay. All right, so they come across a trap. Oh, so we reveal here that Stirs has perfect hearing. Yeah, this is going to get heavily pruned. All right, so this goes for so long. Okay, and again, yeah, again we're writing her. Even later in the book, they like harp on it and like, oh, I'm just an apprentice. They laugh at her about it. So, oh yeah, let me see. Okay. So not a lot is actually happening in that chapter. It's a lot of them wandering, right? So this is like one of the type of chapters we tried to avoid, and in the rewrite, I've written it anyway. So oh no, don't do that. For what it's worth, the thing I work on while I'm watching you stream is coming together in a big way. Oh, congrats, Jiro. Yeah, hopefully you don't feel like you have to show it publicly, but when it's done, show it to me. Don't show anybody before you're done. That's my advice. Yeah, I think the novel is also coming together in a big way. Yeah, yeah. I never show anybody anything until it's complete, unless it's like something I know I'm going to complete later that day. Um, unless you're going to like help you with it or something like that, obviously. But yeah, don't even hint on what it is, because like right now, the status. Just to give you an idea, the status in my mind is like, man, I wonder what the fuck Jira is working on, right? and I'm like thinking it's like some kind of Zelda fucking Hyrule shield or like a diorama or some like my mind is just going in every which way, and I have no fucking clue what you're actually working on. Um, might be like some origami thing or whatever. I'm like, what would Jira work on, right? The second you tell me anything about it, I'm like, oh, it's that, and the mystery is gone. So yeah, keep the mystery alive is my advice. Yeah, I'm not. All right, so this needs a lot of work. Oh, I'm not happy to. Well, I knew that they were going to need work because like you do one rewrite of a chapter, and then they need to be gone through. It still needs to go through the editing process. It's like when you write a new chapter, it's not good. It still needs to run through all the edits and do all the work and everything. But I'm unhappy to see that I fumbled the ball so badly when I ought to know better. All right, so also not happy to see that I have two chapter 2.5s, which might mean that I need. I think I did some shuffling around of these chapters, and I think I joined two chapters to make this chapter. Oh, I know I did it. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, that's not so good. All right, well, now I got to go through and edit all these. It's doing some good things. It's not like all wrong. And it's written heavily in the hat POV. And it gives me some opportunities to show her screwing up. All right, so now we have to. This Rigel chapter has to be 2.6. Because the Rigel chapter is interesting. It's like a good chapter. So was two. Well, I just had a thought and I fucking forgot it. What was it? I don't remember. Needs a lot of work. Yeah, so that one's got to be rewritten. 2.6 Rigel. Oh, we introduce Ayuri. He makes the thing. Oh, a lot of important things happen in this chapter, and then I've forgotten. Oh yeah. I'm not batting 1,000 today. I'm glad I didn't try to write. So this is 183. Oh yeah. Okay, well we need some small chapters to break this up. This is another 14-page chapter. To 198. Yeah, we can't just suddenly out of nowhere start having like 15. Okay, I can easily break these chapters up into points and then just make this 4 chapters instead of 2 chapters. Right? Okay, cool. That has to happen. Because just one I think it goes to 198. I cannot have a chapter that goes on for 25 pages. I will lose. I think it started at 183 and it goes to 198, so it's 15 pages. And this one has something decent happening in it. So in terms of pacing, um, the main thing is you used to be able to have a chapter that was like 20 pages long, or 30 pages, or 40 pages. Like Ayn Rand could get away with like having a 50-page long speech in her book, and she got it published. It wasn't good, but she got it published, right? And then the next book, she's like, "I'll do 100 pages," and people were like, "Christ, Ayn Rand, like, what are you doing?" Um, I like also to pronounce her name like super German, Ayn Rand, just to fuck with objectivists, um, which I'm allowed to do because I was like read The Fountainhead when I was like 16. I'm like, this is the answer. She's got some good points. I'm not gonna take it away from her. Yeah, I should read that again and see how I feel about it. 20 years later, to see how like following her advice worked out for me. and just make a video to young men about what you know. Oh yeah, everybody was a randoid after reading The Fountainhead. It's insufferable, but it teaches you a lot about like propaganda and easy answers, and I still believe that some of those concepts are true. I really, really do um, intrinsically think that the idea of having selflessness be our like fundamental thing, it doesn't work out. And I like a lot of the things that she says. You can see like a fundamental truth of it, um, but not all of it. Is clearly not like a comprehensive program, and it doesn't work out. Um, and it really just is an instruction manual for being insufferable. All right, so let's look at chapter 2.8. So, okay. So I think that's good there. Finds a Sanger Mort vial. Um, bear the burden. Aire. All right, so let's see how. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is okay. Cool. All right. That's where we're gonna break for the chapter. The other part of it too is that like there is tension, like people wanting to find out what happened with Revel and Rigel, and if our chapter is like 15 pages long, then that whole time, like at the back of their mind, it's like what's happening with these two. So I want people to wonder, but I don't want people to like wonder for like 3 chapters what the fuck is going on. And then where can we break the chapter above? And then ultimately, I want to insert one of the fish chapters between the two of them there. Okay, so what? Where do the beats stop? All right, so here at 168, 164. That doesn't do it. We can't break the chapter. Oh, it's going to be a huge pain in my ass. Um yeah, I think I'm going to have to just cut this down to about 10 pages. Mhm. 173 would be good. Okay, so 175, something is following us. Okay, cool. We can break there because it leaves a question. And then oh, okay, cool. That's fine. Cut short by the blast. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, so 175. All right, that's cool. All right, cool. I'm loving it. See, this is gonna make it a better story. Ultimately, just like there's just something about like having this whole blob of shit that's happening, and we just break it up with some stuff that's going through. And if I just slam in a fish chapter, or maybe even like a Nilacomb chapter or something like that, it's gonna break up these monotonous blocks of them wandering around, um, and it's gonna make it better. All right, cool. I'm happy with finding the split points for that rewrite. The question is whether like 6 months from now I will actually remember to do that. That's why we leave the comments. Let me see. What? Yeah, Revel decided. Yeah, that's still in there. There are so many instances of me confusing these two character names. I gotta rename Rigel. Yeah, like totally open to new ideas for the name of this character. He's a young thief who later becomes a magician. The other thing I'm gonna have to do when we rewrite chapter 2 is take out the excessive verbiage that I have shoehorned in there, because when I was rewriting, I was still on my like big kick from when we were writing fucking um, just all the short stories like Three Wolf and so forth, where I just gave myself carte blanche to write whatever I wanted. All right, so 2.6 is Revel, and 2.6 is also this 15. Let's not even fix the numbering here. Oh, yes, hello. The backlog quest Phoebe. Uh, I'm just going to say Phoebe. That's easier. So we're working on our rewrite now, and I've just identified a spot where I can break up two big, long, unwieldy chapters into four reasonably sized chapters, and also intersperse another chapter in it. It's going to do a lot to fix my pacing issue. So very happy with that. Um, it's really not worthwhile for me to fix the numbering here, but I'm going to do it just to make my life a little bit easier. So we're going to make this 2.7. Grand Galer. Yeah, and I'm just, by the way, I'm feeling sick today, but I am doing the job anyway because I'm an American. We are not allowed to take sick days. We don't have that socialism healthcare that y'all got. Let me see here. Although you might be American, I don't know where you are. All right, so here is 199 through bum, 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 bum. 204. Nice. Okay. 2.7 and 199 through 204. That sounds like 5 pages to me. Revel. All right, so let me see what's happening in this chapter. Uh, okay, so here we have you are Australian? Yeah, nice. Yeah, the only people who are awake to watch the stream are like halfway across the world. I got a bunch of viewers from my show that are in Australia and New Zealand and what have you. I haven't been to Australia yet, but I went to New Zealand and I loved it. I would move there if they would let me, but they won't. Let's see. Okay, cool. It's really good. Yeah. The place is like a paradise. I mainly spent time on the North Island. I liked Auckland a lot. It just had like a lot of neat things that I enjoyed. Some really good food. Food was not the highlight of my visit, by the way. I would say almost every other country besides Guatemala that I've been to on the earth has had better food than New Zealand. But I ate at like one place that was really good, and just like a little Chinese hole in the wall. It's like one of those cafeterias where only Chinese people go in, and it was just outstanding there. Honestly, I got like really good Indian food throughout, but in general, not a cuisine trip. But I really enjoyed like the tide pools all over the northern island. Staying at some of the bays there. I went like what is it? You know, the thing where you like sled down the sand dunes. I did that, which is it was all right, but like really, it's just the countryside is gorgeous. I went to the Goblin Forest, which is one of my favorite spots that I've been to ever. It's just completely covered over with moss. I saw one of those giant green birds, the ones that won't fuck. Um, it might have been that bird. It might have been another giant green parrot, but it was like the biggest, greenest parrot that I've ever seen in my life. I had a lot of fun in Wellington. There, they had like a board game store. I actually bought my copy of Attica, which is one of my favorite games. It's sadly out of print. I bought that in Wellington, and then we just played for the rest of the trip. We would like literally play this game at Indian restaurants all over the spot. Um, I went to a bunch of the northern coast of the island. The ferry between the North and South Island is really cool because dolphins will just run alongside it and check you out. I get to see a lot of those little penguins along the beaches, and like the volcanic beaches were really cool. Um, yeah, just ultimately, I see what I did with New Zealand is I just took a month to stay there and just rented a car and just drove all over New Zealand and just got to see a little bit of everything. And even though gasoline was really, or petrol as y'all call it, was really expensive, it was worth it. And so I'd go if I were you and I could get there, I would go. It was definitely worth it. But I still haven't been to Japan. I haven't gone anywhere in that hemisphere basically. I've been to Hawaii, Japan, Thailand, China, Malaysia. I want to go to Indonesia to see a gamelan. That's like high on my list of things that I want to do before I'm dead and in hell. I'd like to see South Korea. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all the same. Like all of us had like a 2 year hiatus on traveling because of the fucking pandemic, and then afterward, it's so easy to just be lazy. I think that's been my. But yeah, I traveled around a bunch yesterday. I'm going to different spots on Long Island looking for something. So we just drove all over Long Island, and I think you can. I don't know if yeah, you can see a little bit. Let me see how. Yeah, that's sunburn there. Just on like the knuckle of my thumb, and like I thought my fingertips were gonna be sunburned worse than they were, but they're not too bad. I just did not reapply in time. All right, 2.8. Let me do. What time is it now? I'm gonna do another chapter or two of this, and then I'm just gonna pussy out. I'm not feeling stellar this morning. Okay. So then we do a yellow hat chapter where the thing explodes. So that's 205 through. It's gonna go on for too long. Why am I thinking that I can get away with this? Yeah, you can't have chapters that are that long. 205 through 216. So it's an 11-page chapter. What work is it actually doing in the story? Okay. And why are we doing all these hat POV scenes instead of the El Shala? I traveled 2018 last, and before that it was 2011. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, money is always a factor, man. Let me see. I was supposed to take like a trip this year to somewhere, but instead I'm doing like other smaller trips, which I'm less jazzed about. I should really get like a month or so off. We just don't get any time off in the U.S., man. Like there needs to be like a legally enforced month off where you have to take it. It's good for you to travel. All right, what do we got here? All right, so they blow up. All right, so uh, yeah, I'm Japan has been like at the top of my list for like a really really long time. I'm very into some of like the early Japanese like Buddhist myths, like just sort of some of the folklore there, and I want to check out like a lot of the temples along Western Japan, where I think there's still like a lot of areas that are like very wooded and backwoodsy and so forth. I want to go check all that out. The I guess on the main island, I'm forgetting the name of the main island for some. I should know what is it. No, I can't name it. What was it, Yokohama or oh, fuck? Let's. I should know this. All right, what can I do right now? So, um, there's like Hokkaido. No, Sapporo's like a city on whatever. Can I name any of the one? What's the one with the base? Um, oh, I should know. I can't. I can't think of any of the fucking. It's like Yokohama, and then what's the little island where we have all the military bases and stuff? It is not coming to mind at all. All right, islands of Japan. I have a map in my thing. All right, so there's Kyushu, Okinawa. That's what I was thinking of. Honshu, and there's no Yokohama or what? Four main islands. Okay, I knew Hokkaido, which is the one where Sapporo is. Honshu is the big one. Okay, and then Kyushu is the one nobody cares about. Let me see. Why couldn't I remember these? So Hokkaido is the big one. Honshu or Hokkaido top. Honshu, center one. Kyushu is the bottom one, and then Shikoku uh, between the two. And then what's the one where we have the base? It would be on Okinawa, I guess. All right. Well, I'm dog shit at geography. Oh, there's the Izu Islands and the Ogasawara Islands. I've looked. I need to look into this more. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I'm out of mana. Man, why am I so sick today? All right, let's try to get through this chapter. And blow up the. So we have an info dump in this chapter. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. All right, so we do a little backstory on Yellow Hat. All right, so the sound continues to pursue them. All right, so we talk about a radiator. All right, and then we foreshadow. All right, and then we just rewrite. Nothing is happening. Ooh, like all the chapters. Yeah, I'm headed to bed also. I'm done for the day. I just woke up. Oh, yeah. So have a great rest of your day as well, or sweet dreams, or what have you. And thank you for tuning in. All right. Well, we made a little progress on our chart, but sadly, I am out of power. I'm going to go lay my weary head to rest. So thank you to everybody for tuning in, and hopefully, I will feel much better tomorrow. Adios.